talk about mental health. And earlier on, I had mentioned that World Mental Health Day was marked on 10th of October, which was on Monday. This is basically a day set to raise awareness on mental health issues. I want to now join or link up with Dr. Eric Njuguna, who is a psychiatrist. He's joining me for this conversation. Good morning, Dr. Njuguna. It's good to have you with us here on News Center. Now, looking at World Mental Health Day, that was marked just a few days ago, and since its inception in the early 90s, where are we, not only in Kenya, but in general worldwide, when it comes to raising awareness in mental health issues?
Thank you very much, Ashley. Very excited to be with you this morning to discuss this very, very important topic of mental health, and I'm happy you've given me a few minutes of your time. Where are we? Straight to your question. We are somewhere. We are making steps and we are making progress. We are certainly not where we were 20 years ago when the mental health awareness month or day was started. We've made quite a number of steps, but we continue to insist as mental health practitioners that there's still a lot to be done. The statistics are very clear. We know that 800,000 people succumb annually by ending their lives through suicide. We know that 1 out of every 4 Kenyans is dealing with a serious mental health issue. So these are issues that continue to plague the world. They continue to plague our people specifically in this region of Africa. So the answer would be that we are making a lot of strides, but we are far from where we would want to be. If you look at the ministry, even coming suicide is spanning 6 of that strategic plan to reduce suicide by 10% by the year 2026.
Okay, talking about those statistics, there are worrying statistics, Daktari, but maybe let's just take it back, because mental health is one of the issues that is sort of downplayed or overlooked, for lack of a better way of putting it. To those viewers who are watching us right now and they don't know the different types of mental health issues or mental health illness, what are the different forms?
Oh, thank you, Ashley. That's a very broad question. One of the things that I would like our viewers to take away today is that we have over 300 different types of possible diagnosis anytime we are dealing with a mental health issue. As mental health, but there are many other different types of diagnosis that we are able to make, and this span across the life of the individual. We have substance use disorders, we have psychotic disorders, we have depressive disorders, we have neurodevelopmental disorders. So there are many types of diagnosis we could make, Ashley, over 300 different types.
Now, the fact that it's over 300 different types even makes the situation worse. So then how do you tell, for example, if I have a colleague or if I have a brother or sister or anyone that I know, a friend, is suffering from mental health?
That's a fantastic question, Ashley. One of the things we say is that one of the most important things to do is to make sure that you do not self-diagnose, that you are able to come to a professional like us here at the Chiromo Hospital Group and get a proper assessment anytime you feel that something is going on that is not the normal. Broadly, Ashley, we say that anytime there is a change in the functioning of an individual, in how they act, in how they feel, in the way they think, anytime there is a marked change from what is known as the normal for you. And the thing is, the normal is different for everybody. So anytime there is a disruption or a big change in how you experience your mood, how you experience your thoughts, and finally the actions. And one of the things, Ashley, is that most of the time in other people, by the time we tell there is a problem, the issue has moved from thought to feelings to behavior, and now we are seeing the outcome. So we are able to tell that there is a difference in their behavior. For example, somebody is now coming to work late, somebody is not meeting their deadline. We find that somebody is now probably drinking heavily or using a lot of substance to be able to cope with what is going on inside them. So these are some of the pointers that we can use to tell that there is a problem and it's time for intervention.
All right, it's equally good to note that mental health can happen, any time in your life, from whether childhood to adulthood, you name it. All through your life cycle, you can have mental health issues. So let's talk about children in general, because it's really hard to tell if a child is suffering from mental health. For the parents watching us, how exactly can they pinpoint? Because, a child today might be moody, tomorrow they're fine. Today they might feel like playing, tomorrow they don't. How do you narrow it down?
Yeah. Thank you, Ashley. Essentially, you made the very important point, and I'd like our viewers this morning to be able to understand, to pick up that from our discussion, that across the lifespan of an individual, all the way from the age of 2 years old, all the way to your 70s, there is a possibility that one could encounter a psychiatric or a psychological problem. And in the past, we've had thoughts or, we've misconstrued to think that children do not suffer from mental health issues. We have been able to actually diagnose depression from children as early as the age of 9. And many times when we find problems, behavior problems in teenagers and young adults, when we do the history or when we do the examination, we find that these problems originated from childhood. So children have the potential to suffer from depression, from anxiety. And interestingly, Ashley, studies show that children will often express this distress in physical symptoms. So one study shows that the easiest way for a child to express anxiety is usually to talk about stomach pain or to talk about headaches. So this was a retrospective study that was done in young adults who now are diagnosed with depression and anxiety and were asked way back. So it was a retrospective study that went way back to their childhood, and it was found that many times they would be clear, Ashley, children do suffer from these mental health issues as well. They just express them differently. Now, as a parent, this is a different discussion. Is a domain of my colleagues who are the child psychiatrists about change in children, behavior, change in mood, change in how they approach life generally. For example, how they approach their schoolwork, their assignments, and usually a parent who's intentional and deliberate in spending time with their children will notice when there is a change in behavior, when there is a change in mood. And many times, if you build a friendship with them and if you've been close to them, they will open up and they will tell you what is going on with them. Actually, children as early as the age of 5 years old know the difference in feelings. They know when they're feeling sad, they know when they're feeling depressed, they know when they're feeling anxious. They just need to be asked the right questions by the right people. Now, for you to be able to get the right response from these children, you have to have built a relationship with them. And this is the thing that I'm seeking this morning to convince our audience that one of the things that as young as